Let me paint you a picture. Two people, same city, same neighborhood, same company, same job title, same salary, on the same payday every single month. They grab coffee from the same place every morning. They commute the same route. They complain about the same things at lunch. Fast forward 5 years. One of them has savings, has investments quietly growing in the background, is starting to feel like money is something they control rather than something that controls them. The other one? Still living paycheck to paycheck. Still wondering where the money went. Still telling themselves that they'll start saving when things settle down a little, when the timing is better, when life gets slightly less expensive. Same income, completely different financial realities. Now, most people hear that and immediately jump to explanations. One of them got lucky. One of them had help from family. One of them made a smart investment at the right time. But what if none of that is true? What if the difference has nothing to do with luck, opportunity, or extra income? What if the real gap between those two people is happening entirely inside their heads? Here's what the research actually shows. And once you understand it, you will start seeing it everywhere.
We've all been handed the same basic money story. Work hard, earn more, spend less than you make, save the rest. Done. Clean, simple, logical. And honestly, it's not wrong, but it is dangerously incomplete. Because that advice treats human beings like spreadsheets, like we are rational, calculating machines who simply need the right formula and will execute it perfectly. But you are not a spreadsheet. You are a human being with a brain that was designed hundreds of thousands of years ago for a completely different world. A world with no banks, no credit cards, no mortgages, no retirement accounts, no inflation. Your brain was built for survival. It was built to hunt, to eat when food was available, to avoid predators, to stay alive right now, not to plan for a pension 40 years from now. And some of those ancient survival instincts are silently, invisibly, working against you every single time you make a financial decision today. Here's a simple example. Think about the last time you received unexpected money. A tax refund, a work bonus, a birthday gift from a relative, a freelance payment you almost forgot about. What happened to it? If you're like most people, and the statistics overwhelmingly back this up, that money was gone within a few weeks. Not because you sat down and decided to blow it, but because your brain registered it as extra, as a windfall. And the psychological response to a windfall is almost automatic. Spend it. Or think about this scenario. You're walking past a store you weren't planning to enter. There's a sign in the window, bold red letters, sale, 40% off, today only. Suddenly there's this little pull, this quiet voice inside.
Let's go deeper, because understanding the mechanics of what's happening in your brain is what actually changes behavior. There's a concept in behavioral economics, the study of how people actually make financial decisions rather than how they theoretically should, called present bias. Present bias means your brain places a dramatically, almost absurdly higher value on things happening right now, compared to things that will happen in the future. Here's the clearest way to illustrate it. If I offer you $10 today or $11 tomorrow, most people take the $10 today, immediately. And think about how irrational that actually is. $11 tomorrow is a 10% return overnight. That's better than almost any investment on the planet. But the brain doesn't process it that way. The brain processes it as certain reward now versus uncertain reward later, real versus theoretical, immediate versus abstract. Now, scale that feeling up to the decisions that actually shape your financial life. New shoes today versus an extra $300 compounding in an index fund over 30 years. A nicer apartment now versus financial independence at 55. A weekend trip charged to a credit card versus a debt-free future. The math on every single one of those future options is overwhelmingly better. But your brain doesn't feel the future. It feels right now. And right now, the shoes are real. The index fund is just a number on a screen. This is why saving feels like a sacrifice, even when you logically know it's the right move. You are not fighting laziness. You are not fighting stupidity. You are fighting millions of years of evolutionary programming that screams the present is real and the future is just a story. Now, here's the second force working against you, and this one is sneaky because it disguises itself as success. It's called lifestyle inflation. Here's exactly how it works.
You get a raise. You worked hard for it, you deserve it, and it feels amazing. So you upgrade a few things. Maybe a nicer apartment in a better neighborhood. Maybe a newer car because the old one was starting to feel embarrassing. Eating out more often because you've earned it. Better clothes because you're at a different level now. Each individual upgrade feels completely reasonable, justified even. But here's what actually happened underneath all of it. Your expenses quietly grew to match your new income. Your savings rate stayed exactly the same. Or worse, it actually got smaller. The paycheck number went up. The bank account balance didn't move. This is the financial treadmill, and it explains something that shocks most people when they first hear it. There are people earning six figures who are genuinely, technically broke. Not because they're reckless, but because their lifestyle expanded at exactly the same rate as their income. The treadmill got faster. They're still running in place. And here's the psychological engine underneath lifestyle inflation. Humans don't measure their well-being in absolute terms. We don't think, I have more than I had last year, therefore I am doing well. We think in relative terms. We look sideways. We compare. Your neighbor gets a new car. Your college friend posts a vacation on Instagram. Your coworker mentions their kitchen renovation. Suddenly, your perfectly functional car feels inadequate. Your apartment feels small. Your life feels like it's falling behind, even though nothing about your actual situation changed. Sociologists call this relative deprivation. Most of us just call it keeping up with the Joneses. And it has been quietly, efficiently draining bank accounts for as long as people have had neighbors. Here's where the real insight lives. The layer underneath all of this that most financial advice completely skips. Your financial behavior, what you spend, what you save, what you invest, is just the output, the thing you can see. But underneath that output is a set of mental programs running constantly in the background. Your beliefs about money.
Your emotional responses to financial decisions. Your psychological defaults. And until you understand those programs, changing the output is like trying to fix a computer by wiping the screen. Let me show you one of the most powerful of these programs. Researchers ran a study where they gave people a simple choice. You can have $100 guaranteed, or you can flip a coin. Heads, you get $200. Tails, you get nothing. Most people took the guaranteed 100. Reasonable. Safe. Then they flipped the exact scenario. Instead of gaining, now you're losing. You're going to lose $100 for certain, or you can flip a coin. Heads, you lose nothing. Tails, you lose $200. Now, most people took the gamble. Stop and think about that. The math is identical in both scenarios. The expected value is the same, but the behavior completely reversed. This phenomenon is called loss aversion, and what it tells us is that the pain of losing something feels psychologically about twice as powerful as the pleasure of gaining the same thing. And when you understand loss aversion, suddenly a lot of mysterious financial behavior starts making perfect sense. It's why investors hold on to losing stocks for far too long, because pressing the sell button at a loss makes the loss feel permanent and real. As long as you haven't sold, there's still a chance it comes back. The loss exists on paper, but the brain hasn't accepted it yet. It's why people don't negotiate their salaries, because the fear of an awkward conversation, or worse, a no, feels bigger than the potential reward of earning more money for the next several years. It's why people keep paying for gym memberships they haven't used in 7 months, why they stay at jobs that underpay them, why they don't switch banks even when a clearly better option is sitting right there. The brain treats the current situation as something you own, something you could lose, and changing it feels like a risk rather than an opportunity. But there is one more trap, and this one might be the most important one of all, because it doesn't just affect behavior, it affects thinking itself.
It's called the scarcity mindset. When money feels tight, when you're stressed about bills, behind on payments, not sure how you're going to cover an unexpected expense, your brain goes into emergency mode. It narrows, it tunnel visions on the immediate problem. How do I cover this bill? How do I make it to the end of the month? How do I handle this right now? And here's what gets squeezed out of that tunnel: long-term thinking, planning, the ability to zoom out and see the bigger picture. A Princeton researcher named Eldar Shafir studied this directly and found that financial stress measurably reduces cognitive bandwidth, your brain's processing capacity. Not because people living under financial pressure are less intelligent, but because their mental resources are being consumed by the constant low-grade emergency of financial insecurity. It's like trying to write a thoughtful, well-reasoned email while someone is standing behind you screaming. You could be the most intelligent person in the room, but if your brain is running in crisis mode, your decision-making suffers, your patience shrinks, your ability to delay gratification collapses. And the cruel, almost brutal irony is this: the people who most need to make clear, strategic financial decisions are often the ones with the least mental capacity to do so, not because of who they are, but because of the cognitive load that financial stress creates. This is why getting out of financial stress is not just about the money. It's about reclaiming mental space. Every dollar you manage to save, every small financial buffer you build, is not just financial security. It is thinking room. It is clarity.